This is of Kos, the Orphan of Kos. And I just want to note that I really like the placement of the snail women here. They seem to be in prayer, so to me, it comes across as they are trying to soothe the orphan's wrath or are mourning Kos. In any case, the boss arena comes across as a sort of sacred area, so it makes sense that the orphan is born once we enter. We sully the sacredness with our hunter selves, and so the full wrath of the nightmare's origin comes to us personally. The orphan cries once it looks at the sky, and the crying is the same audio as German's cry, which can be heard when he sleeps, except the orphan's is pitched down a bit. But that is not the extent to which the orphan borrows from German. Both of them have a sort of flowing cape dealie going on, made of what looks like torn fabric. They are about as tall in the fights, the first half of the orphan's fight at least, and they wield similar blades. I think the idea here is that German killed Kos and ripped out its child, and that the wrath of Kos is manifested as a twisted version of German. The orphan is easily the hardest boss in the game, but once you get the hang of things, there are some fairly straightforward fundamentals which will do most of the heavy lifting of carrying you through this fight. For one, dash to his left. Second, don't get greedy. The orphan can be stunned, but so can you, and he can roll over you in just a couple of hits. It's also prudent to fight him in the ocean rather than on the beach. It's a completely flat surface, so you don't need to worry about any elevation-based shenanigans doing you in, and there's no clutter there, like the walls on the beach, so there's nothing to get snagged on. Additionally, the orphan likes to fly around the map, and if you're in the ocean, he'll fly further away from you, because he isn't blocked by the walls. It's also further away from Kos's corpse, which is relevant because during the fight, the Orphan of Kos transforms and can summon lightning waves which originate from Kos's corpse. The transformation is triggered once the boss's health bar reaches a certain threshold, and the way this works under the hood is a good example of how game design is more about being economic than anything else, because the alternate form of the orphan is already loaded into the map. It's probably just locked underneath the surface or something. And the orphan itself gets swapped out when the transformation happens, with the swap being masked by the large explosion of smoke. This same animation trick applies to weapon transformations as well, with weapons seemingly having a small window where they actually get stretched a bit before the new weapon is spawned in its place. Likewise, we saw this technique used for Gascoigne and the Beggar. The reason this is done rather than the boss just having one model which transforms is because it's just easier. And once you start to dig under the hood of games, you'll find a lot of cases where this sort of stuff is done. We look at the characters, bosses, and areas in these games as the individuals which they are, but as I already explained with the way this game transforms levels by literally warping them out for the same level differently lit and decorated, the magic is in the